roundtable discussion. Kind of got a little mixed up with the address, but that's all right. We all are here. And we're gonna move on with our opening, which is Larry Lawson. He's not here, but as you know that we are here, we all with USDA, and we all on the common ground. We are partners with them. And we're going to bring you information and increase knowledge of community-based principles and options to advance racial equity and for their farming business operations and throughout the communities here. So, and that once you leave here, that you'll have a better understanding of what USDA is and what we are with USDA in the services to improve historically marginalized farmers, landowners, and communities. And so we're going to let our mayor, which has been so welcoming, Mayor Terry Oliver Prescott here. We're going to ask him to come and speak. Sounds good.
And I'm glad y'all are here today. Welcome to Prescott, Arkansas. Prescott is a great place. I've been here my whole life. Grady can tell you a little bit about Prescott. Prescott, we were blessed to get this building donated by the Presbyterians of Arkansas. And what happened, they had church here the whole time I was a kid. And then as they got older, they ended up with 12 members, and they were all 80 years old or older. So in 2012, we started getting this building, the paperwork, and it took 2 years because they had to get all these the big shot Presbyterian elders and deacons from around the whole United States to sign off on it. They donated this building to us, and then it appraised for $960,000.
Wow.
And they gave it to the city.
Wow.
And upstairs has a beautiful sanctuary with the stained glass windows, offices upstairs that are used by counseling services. And then down here, every day after school, you'll have 40 to 50 youth. So it looks pretty good for 40 to 50 youth in here every day spilling stuff and doing what they do. How many of y'all's ever been to the Prescott Raceway out here, junction of 53, hey Fair? Yes, that's a big draw for Prescott. When they have the big shots off TV there, they'll have 20 to 30,000 people come in Prescott. So they pack their stores, and the Raceway's done real good for us. Now, as you come into town, you saw that there was not one Love's, but two.
Yeah.
We're one of the few towns that have two Loves. Now, we worked hard to get that second Love's, but it has the business, and we knew it would have the business to get the second Love's here. And we got several more trucks that I was wanting to get here, so I was telling Love's, you might have to put your third one in before these other two. So we're definitely moving toward the interstate, but we're glad to have you with us today. And that's about all I want to tell you. Just we have bathrooms down the hall, water in the refrigerator. Just put the air conditioner on whatever you need it on, and enjoy yourselves right here in Prescott today. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Oliver. I tell you, that's something right there. Knowledge, just right there, just hearing about the church gave it to Prescott, the city of Prescott, and now the youth is here right under in the church. And Love, you have one first Love, and then you got the second Love.
Yeah.
How about that? Okay, yeah. So next week we're going to have a program, our own Dr. Calvin King, our president and CEO. Gonna let him come and if you want to stay where he is and go over give you an overview of the program, resources, opportunities outlined here as panelists will come and speak as well after he speaks. So Doctor, you want to come up or you going to stay where you are? It doesn't matter. I'm just going to move to the next place.
I want to come up because
Okay.
as you talk, I normally keep mine, also. But after the mayor came up, yeah, and then I was saying the president, it's very impressive.
Yeah.
Prescott is a place to love. That's you have two love stations here, super stations. That says a lot. But one of the things that it says is that Prescott is capitalizing on a major asset that it has available to it, and that's the interstate. And all small towns they don't do that. They're not able to market themselves in a fashion that they utilize the resources that's available to them, deal with that process, of how beneficial it is and how to access that and the marketability of your own community. Let me say this. I want to start in saying, we have often, started our meetings or we open our meetings by saying, we have these meetings for the purpose of achieving a specific goal, and that is to reach underserved communities. And underserved communities basically meaning those communities that are not receiving the maximum benefit or as much benefit from resources that's available to them in a fashion that it addresses the needs for that community or the people in the community. So, in saying that, I was texting a colleague of mine back and forward, and I said, we need to sort of change our presentation and not just saying underserved, but we should say that we have these meetings for the purpose of dealing with addressing underserved communities and unreached communities, that the communities are not being reached, or the individuals within the context of those communities are not being reached. And one may say that, well, we've been there. We've been there and we have talked to leadership in the community and we have presented our programs that we passed our flyers and passed our information. So we have reached them. But unless you have been able to deliver your information in a fashion where people understand it, they understand the process, they understand the benefit of the resources and how those resources can assist them. And again, back to the process and how to access those resources, then you really have not reached that community. And you have not reached the individuals in that community. You've just been there. You've been there. Now, there may be some ministers in the house, so I'm not going to start to get to the point of talking about church. I'm a Baptist, of course. I'm a Baptist. But now as well as I do, a lot of times we be in church, but the pastor don't reach us. He reach out to us, but he don't really reach us. He tried. The pastor tried. The minister tried. Don't get me wrong. They tried, but sometimes they just don't quite reach us. Might be because you're thinking about something that you shouldn't be thinking about. Maybe that your heart is not right. Maybe that you're mad at your cohort or something like that. I tell you what, I know what they did to me. I'm not gonna forget it either. So in that process of that day, of that time period, while you were there, the pastor didn't reach you. He really didn't reach you with the message that he was trying to deliver to you. Do unto others, you have them do unto you. And you thinking about, I know what I need to do to them. Just the opposite of what the sermon may be about. So anyway, the individual had not been reached. But in the same context, sometimes we find ourselves in locations, in communities, and say these underserved areas. And so we are out here with our outreach. We said we're doing our outreach, but in an underserved community. But we may not be doing the things or putting things in a fashion where it's actually reaching the individuals that make up that community. They may not know where USDA Farm Service Center is. He said, you can access these resources at USDA Farm Service Center. And then you ask, after you leave, you think about it. I wonder if they know where our offices are located. What did you really totally reach the individuals in that community then? Maybe Arkansas Land Community Development Corporation. So yeah, this is what we do and this is how we do it. Our work and how we offer our services. And you can follow up with us at any point in time. But we forget to give you the phone number. And we're gone. So the point is that our intent is not only to be here as a part of a program and a partnership with USDA and saying we are here to provide an outreach service in a partnership manner with one USDA. But when we say we are here in an outreach manner, we want to make sure that we sort of emphasize that word reach. We want to make sure that we're reaching everyone in this community in a manner that it is very clear about the resources, how to access those resources, how those resources may be beneficial, to you, not just outreach and being here. So we have reached out, but we want to make sure that we are reaching you in the fashion that is necessary as we do our outreach. So that's the intent of why we're here. I just want to say also, man, it's very interesting. Our organization, we received some initial support from the Presbyterian Synod. And like you say, it's a major structure as far as the institution itself is concerned. Both the Presbyterian, the Catholic, also, I was fortunate to have some experience in working both with the Presbyterian and the Catholic. Also provided us some resources like financing support when we initially got started in our work back years and years ago. And I served on the national. It was a coalition of all the different churches and denominations, both the Presbyterian, the Catholic, the Baptist, the Lutheran, all the different, how I managed to get on that committee, I don't know, because everybody there was bishops and, everything else. They finally found out I wasn't a minister. But that was okay. They said I was just a.
That's been doing right.
Yeah, they said they said I was a minister for agriculture and rural. So I accepted that. So I guess maybe the process of some of the things that I was talking about, but I felt very fortunate. It was an experience that I will never forget. But it is it's an institution that does great work, particularly in working with community-based efforts, throughout the country. It does. We're here today and to bring to you what we call one USDA resource agencies, how to access those resources, the type of resource they have available to you, and how those resources may possibly benefit you. Of course, Natural Resource Conservation Services is one of the organizations that will be presenting here today as they talk about both their urban farm and conservation program benefits and opportunities they have to offer. The other is Farm Service Agency. And Farm Service Agency, and if you listen very closely, you'll find that Farm Service Agency and Natural Resource Conservation Services, particularly as it has to do with accessing the resources, and if you want to be possibly a micro-urban farmer, or if you want to be a community leader that both advocate for and educate your community more on how to be a micro-urban farmer, then you need to pay very close attention to their presentation and how individuals may become micro-urban farmers and the type of resources that they would have available to them at hand if they decide to do that as a beginning farmer or as an existing, what one may call a gardener now. So we are gardeners, but gardeners then can become an actual farm. It could be the size of this room. That'd be a farm, man. The size of this room. You have vacant lots in the city. And the city has these lots, and it's a cost and expense for keeping them up on an ongoing basis. And may want to say, well, we're gonna begin at agriculture, urban farm, business enterprise. And we're going to make these lots farms, and we're gonna make them available to our local citizens, our organizations, our groups, maybe even who want to work with youth and work with the youth so they better understand agriculture and producing food in a safe manner and other program initiatives. Because they have also youth resources. If a youth say, well, I want to see if I can be an urban farmer, then FSA can help them with that, particularly if they have a sponsor. Then they can get a youth loan. But I'm not gonna talk about that, FSA is gonna talk about that. But I just thought I'd give
You were
preference
doing
to
a great job.
yeah, no, but I just thought I'll give preference to that. There's something for people to think about, or even a coalition of organizations and groups working together, say we're gonna really support our youth. And we know the importance of agriculture, we know the importance of safe food. We know the importance of it and want our youth to know more about USDA, the services they offer and the benefits that they offer to individuals that want to pursue this field, or even just understanding the whole agriculture economics around it. But urban micro farming. The other is going to be USDA rural development. And there are a number of areas too, as it relates to rural development. You know, often they say USDA rural development can build an entire city. They offer everything from grant programs for housing. They offer grant programs for community service, for community facilities. They offer, I'm not saying all grants, I'm just saying they offer, when I say grant, I don't mean it's all, they may be partial grant, and there are eligibility requirements in that, but they offer those resources for infrastructure, for business enterprises. They offer financing for business, for expanding business opportunities in a local community, a local area. And they'll talk more about that, as well as about their housing program as far as the affordable housing is concerned. Affordable housing. And you know, that has been a national agenda item over the years. Not just during the campaign. Housing has been and continues to be, particularly in our underserved and unreached communities. It has been an issue over the years, affordable housing. And USDA has one of the best programs nationally for rural areas with affordable housing. The 502 program, the 504 program, they'll talk more about those, particularly on the 504 side and the grant side. You know, from that perspective, eligibility requirements would be another thing, you know, that hopefully we can have this discussion with you about today. So again, USDA as a whole, air property. Now you all may not have that in Prescott area, but air property, we found it to be an issue pretty much so throughout the state of Arkansas and every community you go to, where individuals pass on and they leave assets and no will. And there's no will. And a lot of times it's a contributing factor in a negative manner to a local community because it's not dealt with. It ends up being the responsibility of the city. It's a house that's abandoned and someone may want to live there. A family member may want to live there, but there's a dispute about the property itself. So that family member move out for whatever reason. There may not be a dispute. It may be a fact that an individual member wants to continue to live on the property and maintain the house, but they can't access the resources to deal with the rehabbing or doing anything with the property. And you can't do that if it's air property and undivided interest. So you can't get no grant from USDA rural development to deal with rehabbing the house or fixing the house up. And of course, there are the eligibility requirements too. Now you have to be of certain age and a certain income area, but even meeting all those requirements, if it's air property and you don't have a title ownership to that property, then you have a barrier there. But they'll talk about that. But we can also talk even more so and try to answer questions for you as it relates to air property and the resources, not through rural development, but through farm service agency by way of third party, well, they have financing. You can get financing to address an air property issue that you may have if the other heirs want to sell their interest out in the property. You can get financing to buy the interest out, get clear title and ownership to the property, and get the resources that other resources that you would need to rehab or possibly even build a home on the property. But air property can be a barrier in accessing resources. It can also be a barrier in accessing NRCS resources as well. Let me just mention that too. But they'll tell you that for title ownership, it can be a barrier when you're dealing with air property in a lot of ways. I want to mention the other area, in particular, since the mayor gave reference to the youth. You know, we have a program, and it's working with drones. Drones is an area of both technology, and it's being used now more and more, and particularly in our rural areas. And they're used in agriculture. We've used drones in one project that had to do with livestock management. As we would check the fencing areas, we fly the drones to check the herd, to see if any cattle are missing, if they're up in a certain area, if the count is down, then versus going out on your side-by-side or your four-wheeler or something, riding and taking a look, you can do it much faster and much easier by just flying the drone and doing a herd check. That's one example. The other is after storms, then we check our boundary fencing with it to see if there's any fence downs, limbs fall on the tree, like in certain areas you have where it goes under the tree areas, and you have limbs down. We also have used drones to work with farmers in what we call monitoring the not pesticides, but pests that may be in the field areas, and they have the sensors on those drones, and you can detect where you may have a certain population or where your worst population may possibly exist with certain insects, and so you know where to concentrate your energy and your cost on, and dealing with managing that farming operation when you're producing vegetable crops. And they use them with other cropping as well. Again, and that's a sensor. And some individuals are doing this by way or as a business now. As businesses where they contract to do it. NRCS, I understand why they don't deal with drones directly themselves, but they can contract with individual company of the LLC if they're having to do, let's just say a contract check on with a particular client to make sure that operation is in compliance with that contract. Say they were doing crop rotation, okay? That requires CSP. They'll tell you what CSP and all that is also when they talk about. But anyway, if they were doing compliance regarding contracts with the CSP, then individuals may use drones to fly the area, take the pictures, and get a full report back into the NRCS office on that farm number, and understand that the farmers are in compliance. It may be with the CRP, in part of the Conservation Reserve Program also. But anyway, the point is this. No, you should look at drones, and hopefully Aldo will look at it as well with our youth in a manner where it is something that can be used to train youth, and they be more knowledgeable of it as from a business perspective. And sometimes it makes it more exciting for our youth, with youth programs. They like to deal with those type things. So we have a drone project, and with this drone project, we have it, because now you have to have a certified drone flyer. They get the pilot license. We have one. Mr. Tucker there, he's a certified pilot for drones. Now, don't let them fly your plane now. Only for drones, okay? But they go through a process and they take the test. So to get our youth into that and to understanding that, and even, you know, to have a program, you know, where you have some youth that's interested enough and for them to get certified and understand how to fly drones, the mayor may decide to let them work in a volunteer manner. If they're licensed, if they're doing a search for something and they know how to fly drones with the cameras and everything on them, so they become more of an asset in the local community to support even as community service and things of that nature. So I just wanted to mention that from a drone standpoint, something for everybody to think about. And I'm gonna stop at this point now, because then I'll start explaining programs in a minute. I'm waiting for our.
You did the whole program.
So thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. King didn't tell you he was a PK preacher's kid. So.
Yeah.
He's gonna be preaching as well. Anyway, now that we've gotten all that out, he has kind of briefed you on what you're about to hear. And we're gonna call on our first district conservationist under the Natural Resource Conservation Services, NRCS agency representative, and they would speak on the programs that they have. So I don't know if you want to go from there, you want to come up front. Or...
I can do it, Mayor.
All right.
I'm actually not Morgan Watson.
I
She's
know.
she's in a training today, so
That name is.
yeah. I'm James Reynolds. I'm an area resource conservationist. So Morgan covers Hempstead, Nevada County. I can be anywhere from Mena to Little Rock to DeWitt and South. So anyway, when we're talking about these programs, there is a little bit of eligibility paperwork we have to do. We have to, depending on what we're putting in, we need to have clear ownership so that the owner can get permission for what's going in. There's some adjusted gross income provisions and some highly erodible wetland provisions, but it's nothing too major. You get the paperwork, you look at it, you're gonna go, wow, but that's what we're here for. We're here to help fill it out. Once you get through all that, we have the Environmental Quality Incentives Program. It helps address problems on the land. If there's erosion, if the trees are too thick, we might can thin. If you got too many pine trees, like a pre-commercial thin. Getting into the urban, we're looking at, you know, micro irrigation and hoop houses and things like that. A hoop house is basically a greenhouse with no heater in it. It'll extend the growing season 2-3 weeks, a month, maybe on each end sometimes, depending on the weather. Basically with that program, we're looking at anything that there's a problem, we're trying to address it. When you get into the Conservation Stewardship Program, CSP, that one will help some of that problem stuff, but it's really there more to enhance. It's a pretty good program, and we cover forestry, pasture, you name it, cropland. Easements, we're looking at like wetland reserve type stuff. We would go in and hold stuff in an easement. But basically, you won't be farming it anymore. It's going into an easement, and it's going to be wetlands or grasslands or something for however long the easement is, 10, 30, or a lifetime, 10 years, 30 years, or a lifetime. And I know we throw a bunch of acronyms and letters out, but you know, we'll try to knock it down. When you get in office, we'll try to knock it down to something you understand. Getting on into that, we have office in most counties are covered by an office, but like this office or this county goes to Hope. Camden covers El Dorado or Union County too. Nashville covers 2, so some do cover 2 counties. And I don't know what kind of land y'all have. We can talk about that if you like. Do what? Oh.
I don't have any.
Don't have any? Yeah. I mean, well, we can get in your backyard, you know, with that hoop house or looking at how you, yeah. Is it forestry or pasture or?
I have land, but I got a fence in the back of my lot.
Right.
But that, my lot is all of the trees and so I can't even see through it, you know.
Right. And
So
so,
it don't belong to me, it belongs to somebody else for me.
Yeah.
My fence.
so you just own the fence?
Clean out, I do.
Now, we don't clean the fence necessarily, but we, depending on what you have though, we could look at it and just see. Yeah, the best way for us is for us to get in contact with y'all and then us go look. Cause there's so many things, we can sit here and cover a whole bunch and never get to what you actually have. So that's what works the best is come talk to us and say, hey, this is what I got. We'll go look at what you have and we'll take it from there. If we can help, we can, and if not, we won't. And we even like say, if you need a pond and things like that, we can go look and tell you if it's a good site or not, even if we're not helping pay for it. You know, we offer services like that too. So, you know, we can come look and worst case, we just kind of give you some ideas and can't help much, but.
Well, I put down a fan feeding in the yard and stuff.
No, we don't do that.
How big does the lot have to be?
It doesn't, big enough, like if a hoop house is gonna be like 40 foot wide and then we can probably 40 by 30 to 40 by 40. So it needs to be a little bigger than that, but you know, if you got room for something like that, there's no minimum size.
Yeah. When you asked about the size, getting an area designated as a farm, if you have a lot, if you have enough space in the back area, it could be the amount of that space that's behind the bar there, and you're raising vegetables on it, then you can get a farm number, and you would get that farm number through Farm Service Agency, and you're now an actual farming operation for any type of agriculture production practice that you're doing as relates to producing crops. And again, it may be vegetables, you may be raising flowers, you know, whichever. Now, once you have, and of course, having the farm number two and this establishes the farm, the other resources, the other program services you talked about in CSP, which is the conservation stewardship practices, then, I mean, you qualify for that program. Let me just give you another example. The minimum payment under the conservation program, that's CSP, I think
Right.
now. Under the CSP program is $4,000 a year.
For 5 years, right?
For 5 years.
Right, and it can be more than that depending on what's going
Right.
on. If it's a small acreage, we might just get it to 4,000 a year and that'd be it.
So if you establish as a farm, you sign up for the program, EQIP being one. NRCS develops the conservation plan for you. They develop that plan and what type of resources that they're going to make available to you. You mentioned it may be irrigation, it may be where you're doing the
Raised beds.
raised beds, yeah, raised beds.
Right, we might even get into the nutrient management or something like that as well, you know, fertilizing, that type of stuff.
So as well as then, and some of those practices initially could start off with the EQIP program, and then you enhance those practices once you've met the compliance period on the EQIP, say 3 years, 5 years, whichever on that. And of course, this is the pay process for the practice. Then you sign up for the CSP, and the CSP is what, 5 years?
Right, 5 years.
Up to 5 years with CSP with a minimum payment of $4,000 a year. That's the minimum. It could be more than $4,000 a year. But again, you know, it all begins in having a farm number.
And then getting us out there for that conservation plan.
Right.
And once we do that, we can get you on the right path. You might go straight into CSP, you might not need EQIP or might need both, you never know.
Well, that's true. That's right. That's true. You may not need EQIP and just go straight to the conservation stewardship practices based on what your operation is going to consist of.
And the for-profit and non-for-profit organizations?
Non-profits can do it as well as for-profits, business operation. We have utilized EQIP program and we're non-profit as well.
the main thing to look at there is where do you want, you're gonna get a 1099 or whoever does it. So as you're signing up, you need to be thinking about who's getting the 1099 and where you want that to go, and that would be the way to sign up. Be the way to think about that part of it. Especially if you're in partners with somebody, getting it split and that kind of thing too. Any other questions or?
I want to ask you sometime, he gave mention to the easement program, conservation easement. And it may not be direct to you in this room. It may be someone it may be an in-law, a family member that has interest or ownership in land or own land, that they're renting out, as an example. Or that they maybe have certain land that they don't want to continue to keep it into production as a farming operation. And when he said the easement program, that's a pay program as well.
Right. We appraise it and then pay on the appraised value. And you keep the land, but it can no longer farm it. But the other side of that is nobody can come in and put a Walmart there or sell it for a house. It's supposed to stay. When we put it into that program, it's supposed to stay whatever we say, it's supposed to be, whatever the plan says. And we'll keep helping to manage that. But it's not a bad deal, especially if you've got some marginal ground that's not producing real well. It's a way to get paid on that land. They'll talk about the Conservation Reserve Program in a minute. It does the same thing. Either one of those two, if you've got some marginal ground that's flooding or staying wet or anything like that, that just not producing that well, we might be a way to get some guaranteed income and not have to keep fighting farming it.
And what's the average per acre now in Arkansas on unirrigated and irrigated?
I want to say it's around $2,000 an acre on the
Unirrigated.
easement.
You're right, on the easement.
Right. I'm not sure which one, where it breaks at. I just know it's around 2,000.
But the point is that when you put it into the program, you put into the conservation easement program, say $2,000 an acre, but you still own the land.
Right, it's still yours, and you can still lease it out for somebody to duck hunt it or hunt it yourself. We just can't have production on it. That's all you can't do. Right. And once the trees get big enough, like say we planted some trees, once they get big enough to harvest, well, there'll be a way to harvest. We just can't go out there and actually farm it for row crop or graze cattle on it or anything like that.
You plant the tree on having them to use the program.
Right. There'll be a plan. They say, they call it restoring it. They're gonna try to return it to what it was before it was cleared up and farmed. And that restoration plan will probably have some tree planting in it. It might have some dirt work in it. And then go from there. And then at some point, those trees will be big enough to harvest.
Did she have a hand up back here? Did she have a question?
No, I think you're going. The my name. Down there on West Allen Street, my sister was staying there with her husband. And she passed away. But she had 3 children. And the man had a son. Her husband had a son and he died. And so after he passed, about 2 years ago, we tried to get the property from my nieces, but they couldn't do nothing with it because her husband had some grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been going on 3 years, I think, now. And the trailer house is falling down. And nobody ain't doing nothing about it. So we want to go there and do something, but we can't do nothing.
Right.
With my nieces because we don't know where to go that oversee us.
Yeah. We run into that on the land side of things a lot.
Yeah.
Somebody what needs to plant trees or that person you don't know how to get a hold of, they slip in and have the trees cut. It was really everybody's, but they slipped off with the money. It's a bad deal.
They say the grandchildren they all come together, step you, they like to get them solved that way, but you don't know who to contact.
Yeah.
So the trade house and fell down, and they locked them road up,
Yep.
That's,
I don't know what they do.
that's an air property situation. Sound like a lot of air, sure.
Yeah.
Grandkids and kids.
Any other questions on NRCS?
Do you just register at your local, at the local county office?
Right, right. And where are you located at?
Hempstead and Lafayette.
Okay, so Hempstead, the office is between Big Jake's and, KFC down there, kind of parallel to the interstate. On the bypass there. And then in Louisville, if you go down 29, when you get to the red light, you'll hang a left, and it's up there about 3/4 mile on the left. It's on 82. It's a stone and wood building. Caitlin Malik is the DC down there.
So
So,
you just go in the office and.
Right,
applications
right.
and everything.
Right. right. You should be able to just drop in.
Just drop in.
Right. The first door on the left is the NRCS office, and then the last door on the left is the FSA office. So,
Any who's next?
About- Uh, Thank you, NRCS. Next, we're gonna have Farm Service Agency, Brady Road, and Patty Childers, and, farm program, farm loan. Which one you wanna come first? Farm programs?
Yeah,
Before you start, Pat, I just want to add, I'm the district director for this area. Be kind to Brody, he's only been working about a month.
30 days today.
Oh, is it 30 days today? Okay, well, he's still,
But she definitely brought you to the right meeting. She actually set you up on that. She set you up on that.
And I understand,
Exposure.
CED.
now Patty is busy.
See, I mean, Patty, but I do understand.
Y'all let her have it. She's been here a while.
my name is Patty Childers. I'm the farm loan officer for Hempstead, Nevada County in Hope. So we do farm loans. We have the direct farm loan program. That is if you want to, start up a farm, purchase a farm, expand a current operation, you can contact us with that information. One of our eligibility requirements is you have to have farming experience 3 out of the last 10 years. So that kind of, sometimes knocks some folks out, but there's also a guaranteed farm loan program where you could go to the bank and get a loan through the bank, and we would guarantee that loan if there was, any loss for any reason. We also, on the direct program, we also have operating loans where you can purchase cattle, equipment, farm vegetables, anything like that. And those loans are set up on annual payments. Just kind of depends on what you're looking at doing. You can lease the land and still get those operating loans. And then we also have the same operating loan through the guaranteed program as well. The eligibility on the operating loans to purchase cows and equipment, you don't have to have the 3 years. You can only have 1 year on that. And so that helps a little bit on that eligibility requirement. Again, it just kind of looks at what you're doing, or, if you're brand new, or we can, just look at what operation you're wanting to start to see what you would actually qualify for. And you can also just walk in our office there on the bypass in Hope. We also have an office in Arkadelphia that house our other 7 counties. So we are available at any time for you to come in, or you can give us a call and we can walk you through it over the phone as well. We now have an online application process. You can do all of your application online. You get an e-auth, ID and password. and you can look at your information for FSA online. We can do conservation loans if there's a practice that you're wanting to do. Just kind of, again, it just kind of depends on what you're wanting to do, and, you know, if you're wanting to start up a farm, we'll be glad to look at any of those with you as well. The loan limits, the direct loan limits to purchase land is 600,000. And then the operating, the cattle equipment type loan, that loan limit's at 400,000. Again, those are annual payments that you would pay, on those loans. Our youth loan program, if you have children 10 to 21 that are wanting to start farming, you can, they'll have to have a project advisor, usually an FFA, their ag teacher have been their advisor sometimes. They have to have a project advisor, and we can do loans now, those limits are up to $10,000. Those are annual payments. Sir, 10 to 21. Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to add, we do have micro loan savings, which is 50,000 or less, and it gets a little bit. We only take a lien for what you actually take. So if you purchase a tractor, that's all that will take a lien on. Imposed to a bigger loan. So that's kind of a good thing. So if you've got other equipment and assets, we don't take a lien. No. So.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm like, just make sure we have some clarity on the annual payment. Plus it's end of the year payment on the operating loan, except for when you have equipment. That can go to 7 years.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so you can equipment term basis, so you got annual payment over a 7-year term period of time on the equipment that you purchase with that operating loan. That micro loan being $50,000, up to $50,000 for operating purposes. That's one that we have worked with a number of farmers on that want to be a urban or micro farmer. They may be only going to farm 10 acres or 5 acres, 20 acres, and raising vegetables, and they incorporate, conservation program services with with the EQIP program. And we've had some to do very, very well. Matter of fact, that was the first one we had in our beginning farmers program, mentoring program. The lady said she wanted to become a farmer. She always wanted to be a farmer. So we let her have access to 3 acres of land. And with that 3 acres, she wanted to own her own farm eventually. And she used the hoop house. At the hoop house, she farmed that 3 acres of land, raising vegetables, participating in the farmers market. And she has now purchased her own farm. She did that for 7 years. She has now purchased her own farm in the Little Rock area, starting with 3 acres of land. Now, that's a true factual story with us. And I'm just going to give reference to that one more recently. Small acreage and use of the USDA resources. Another one was probably before your time, but with the carpenters. You may have read about the carpenters here recently. They started also with 3 acres. 3-acre vegetable farming operation, became very, very successful in that farming operation. And they're very, very successful now, with over 1,500 acres of land in vegetable crops, medical marijuana, business enterprise as well. So, but started with 3 acres of land.
They bought the land through FFA.
That is right. They also purchased that through Farm Service Agency, so that the young lady that started in our mentoring program, once become a beginning farmer, she started with 3 acres. She purchased her farm and equipment through Farm Service Agency. So that's all. and I'm saying that to make sure we sort of put some things and, in context when we talk about the micro urban farm financing, the operating expenses for that, and then NRCS equal program. Now, when they say they provide all the assistance, with NRCS, that's financial assistance that you don't pay back. So what they provided that service, they're covering the cost on that. And the easement program, they're paying you money. FSA, don't get them mixed up though. FSA, they won't pay us back. They actually won't pay. And I just want to mention, just as a quick example, if I was on a farm business plan and say, if we were going to do a 5-year spread, on a business plan, and you went in with a $50,000 operating loan, with that business plan, and you had I'm just going to use $30,000 conservation contract, okay? So the financial, capital access for that farming operation over, say, that 5-year period of time, and that's what you're paying the operating loan back, every year. I'm making it easy on myself, just saying regular operating loan. But that would mean over that period of that 5 years, 5-year program compliance with NRCS, you would be talking about roughly 200, 300, no, 100, 200, at $80,000 for actual business plan. So we're trying to formulate business plans that we can give an example and show the cash flow accordingly, based on the resources going to be generated from that farming operation. But 1 year, and depending upon NRCS contract, and then that becomes program income. The farm making, so the 30,000 is program income, that's a part of your farming practice. And then, of course, the FSA side is loan income, of course, with debt payoff, at the end of the year. But you're looking at it from that standpoint, you're looking at it as a business operation, a business enterprise, and we do the projections on how much money can be made from the operation on an annual basis, access to market, and we look at the actual market figures, be it on vegetable, regular crops, whichever. So. 50,000, yes.
Yes. And I did want to expand on that urban farming. This is a new program that FSA has had probably, let's say, a year probably.
But it was in the 2018 farm deal.
Right, and we just started really implementing
Yeah.
it. We're in the process of getting the building, seriously, we just picked somebody to be over the office. So, kind of bear with us on that, but you still, if you're interested, you go in your local office and get some stuff started and stuff, but we're like super excited about it, just to know that somebody can grow some on Prescott or somewhere and make reasonable income. That's exciting for everybody, so we're excited about it. But
What is
what's considered urban? Like as far as farming, as far as a tax. Farming, I've known people to take tomatoes, and seriously, grow on that's what they do in like New York and big towns. They grow them on their rooftop. But you can get a bucket or something and put it in the back of your home. So vegetables, you gotta have that much room anyway. And that's kind of what the urban is. Flowers, you can do flowers, any type of thing.
But I'm telling you, if you define urban by population, then, that would be one criteria, the urban by population. If you define urban based on the type of farming operation it is, then that's why you heard me say micro urban farm. So it may just be a micro small farm in Prescott area. In another small community, it may only be 100 people that's there. But you'll be defining that as far as eligibility on the program based on the size and type of operation that it is. Then that fits within the same context of the normal size of what would be considered as an urban farm. That's basically how we work with them, and we call them micro urban farms. And as we look at the type of resources that's available to them through USDA.
Yeah, as far as we're concerned, it doesn't matter if you're in Prescott or Little Rock or in Wood, or here in Chester, we're gonna do what we're gonna do. Whatever the need is, we're gonna try to do it if we can. If we're willing to, that's what we're gonna go with. So if you're doing the same thing as somebody in Little Rock, you're probably gonna get similar assistance.
But we're here to kind of spread the word, and especially on a smaller basis, we got know people that are interested in urban farms and stuff like that. Contact us, we would love to talk to them and see what we can actually do for them, so.
I was talking with a person actually last night. I went into this restaurant, and she was talking about a gentleman say he raised the best turnips. They don't know what type it is, but he has great turnips and his turnip greens. And where she buy her vegetables from. You say in the season, she buy all of her vegetables from this garden. So he has a huge garden. But him having that huge garden and not getting the benefit of USDA program services, then he's missing out on certain resources, and probably some of the same practices that he is utilizing right now would qualify for the CSP program, Conservation Stewardship Practice Program with NRCS. I may be able to enhance those practices to have even better terms. He said he has the best watermelon that he grows, and his greens are so good. And his green beans, he said, on how he grows this is the best. So he's like, and he's in a rural area, small town. I'm not gonna call the name of the town, but disclosure at that point. But he's in a small town, roughly I think 700 or so odd folks right now. And then he has 3 or 4 big lot areas that he has where his home is located. But if you know people like that, and you say they have the best garden every year, they could be established as a farming operation and access other resources, including the conservation stewardship practices program based on how NRCS worked with you to get that minimum $4,000 that they could be earning as well by simply applying certain production practices, conservation production practices. So that's just an example. So here's the first one here. But the fact that I know about the program, and because I'm gonna find them do here some of the terms, but the fact that I know about the program and I was telling her about it, now she's anxious to go back to talk to you about it. And so hopefully he'll be one that can benefit, and it's just by the word being passed on, not where he was at the meeting or she was at the meeting. But it's important we have people that actually pass on the information. If you know somebody, what they may be engaged in, it's beneficial for your community. It's beneficial for the community. It's also beneficial for those individuals when they're able to access these resources that's available to them and have a more economically sustainable type of a farming business enterprise, micro urban farming, any type of farming operation there, right? I want to ask one more thing to emphasize. Now, you also have the flexibility loan program that you all, they just came out with.
What, they can pay back in 18 months or something like that?
Right. It doesn't follow just on an annual basis.
Yeah, that's
Because you get very specific, you said doesn't have to be done on an annual basis every year. They do have another program now. They just came out with the Farm Service Agency Flexibility Loan Program. I think one part of the option is at the end of, you just pay interest. Yeah, you pay interest only, interest in part principal on that loan. In some cases that, well, based on what I understand of the program right now, it could be good for beginning farmers, particularly in dealing with cash flow, and mitigating some of that risk just sort of on the front end. And the reason I say that, because at the beginning, farmers, your first year farming, if it's the first year farming, you don't have the status yields. So you're going back county yield. But if you're going to be renting land from anyone, I strongly encourage individuals to find out what is on record as the established yield for whatever crop that you're going to be producing on that particular farming operation. I'm talking about traditional row crop, not the vegetable crop, type of operation. So I just wanted to mention that one has been one of the other areas of where USDA Farm Service Agency has created some added incentive and what I call the opportunity to start early in creating an equity position within the context of the farming operation, particularly on what one may call immediate type of cash equity based on the cash flow. When we run dealing with cash flows on those operations, that flexibility program for beginning about any farming operation. Farmers sometimes become economically distressed in the business enterprise. And farming is definitely a very serious business enterprise. So if they become economically distressed, it could be because of market. What
But
they're going to talk about that on the program side, and how you mitigate risk with the farming operation in dealing with risk management, from that standpoint. But, that again, that's the flexibility loan program that just came out 2024 this year.
it came out, it was effective September 25th, I think.
Right, September this year. So we've been trying to spread the word on that so people do know about it as a new program with Farm Service Agency. Well, not new, the loan program is not new, but an added benefit in how you can structure a farm business plan.
And when he's talking about, Mr. King is talking about phone business plan, if you come into our office and you're saying, I need $50,000, and then we're gonna look at your phone business plan, you may not need but $20,000. And that's all that we're gonna leave you, $20,000, because we're looking at what it costs to raise that crop and all the other variables. You gotta have a plan. And that'll help us in a lot. So we do have a lot of people, literally spoken, I want the whole $40,000. Well, you really don't need the whole $40,000 based on what you're trying to do. So don't get in debt like that if you don't have to. Do your research, go talk to your, Mr. Kevin too, and your kind of extent, do your research on what stuff is cost. I've had people come in my office and ask me, what kind of talent do I need to buy? Well, if you ask me that question, you don't need to be wrong. So keep that in mind. A lot of times we're labeled as we don't want to hear. So, and that's not the case at all. We want you to be a successful. So we're here to guide you, help you. So keep that in mind. And great work.
And in reference to that, I'm talking about what our lady, let me tell you about what we did. We as an organization, we've worked with individuals in developing those farm business plans. The reason I can talk about them the way I do, because that's what we do. We work with farmers both from an advisor perspective, if you look at your farm business itself, either the beginning from, even as an existing farmer. But we work with them in developing the farm business plan, as well as signing up for, and I say signing up for, making applications to NRCS for that conservation program. That's what we do from the technical systems and from an advisor perspective. Anything that you're looking at doing as a farmer, beginning from as a farmer as a whole, the business plan of the budgets have already been done. No, they're already done. So if you ask me something that's unrealistic to FSA, and they say, well, we don't see how you're gonna 9.9 times out of 10 is not gonna cash flow anyway. You know, we can't make them cash flow. We put the numbers to it. Even if you're a first year farmer, you put the numbers to it based on what the average, I'm just gonna use soybeans as an example. So if the average operating cost is $250 an acre, Mike know exactly how much it is per acre. I have to ask Mike, is it $250, $200, $300 an acre? And of course, it has changed over the years because of the input costs have gone up, on it. So seed costs have gone up, if you're dealing with pesticides, pesticide has really increased, and fertilizer has really increased. Like this corn, things of that nature. But anyway, that's a cost factor on a per acre basis for most of the crops that's out there. We access that information, look at what is current to date, and what has been utilized by extension research, because they're doing production research on this on an ongoing basis for both what could become the established yield or possible yield on a per acre basis, both on regular row crop and horticultural vegetable crops. So we like to give the sound information. Don't get me wrong. We're not going to give you our plan because we want it to be your plan. And I don't like to get into that because you can get into a lot of trouble when you say, well, it didn't work because that was your plan and wasn't my plan. That is gone. I needed more money, but you said I needed this amount of money, and that's what I got, and that's why I failed. So we don't get into that. We look at what you're asking for. We try to put together a plan, and to the greatest extent, if it's feasible, the feasibility of that particular plan based on cash flow. When I say cash flow, the fact that you're going to pay, you get enough money to cover all your expenses, and you're going to generate enough revenue to fully pay that debt. And that's the way we put together the business plan. Don't get me wrong. Like you say, some of them say, this is how much money I want. And we put together the plan. So what I'm going to tell you, you want them. Mike, they ask for it on it. Mike knows they'll ask for it. And now, if they ask for it, and Mike is serious to put together a plan. Now, he can put together a plan with any kind of plan you want to ask for. But then when it gets to me, I would say this is not going to work. And I will tell them why. Everything from security on the asset side of it to what is actual on county average on yields, because there's no established yield, from that perspective, is the county average. How you gonna tell me the county average is 40 bushels an acre, and you're gonna tell me your first year is 60? So I'm just saying, so this is what the county, and so we look at, here's what county average is, taking a combination of both irrigated and non-irrigated land. So we look at that, And then we look at, the basis of what county average is on non-irrigated land. altogether. So here's a non-irrigated land, there's a county average, it's an irrigated. And say you have non-irrigated land. But you're gonna do 60 bushels an acre
Oh, no.
on non-irrigated land, and the county average with irrigated and non-irrigated is 40 bushels an acre. I'm gonna say so, then it goes into the advisory mode. So you get the plan, then it goes to advisory mode. So I'm going to advisory mode. And so, well, if I was up and say, yeah, I mean, if you have money, but I'm gonna look at then how much security you got. And I don't be looking at just your crop security. I'll be looking at any other assets of holding that you may possibly have that we're gonna put a lien on. That may either be land, equipment, your truck. Any security that's out there. And that's actual security. Yeah, so. That's where you get.
We really do, thank you.
Now, we actually do that. We actually do see, then y'all don't be talking to bad guys, they just said we. But we work with individuals to the point and back with FSA, all at the same time, because, we look at economic sustainability over a long period of time, that's one. And then two, we want everybody to succeed. We want FSA to be successful in providing the services they do, to the maximum extent possible. We definitely want the farmers to be successful. And that's why we work with them the way they do, to enhance, any part of that operation we possibly can with the use of NRCS resources and any other resources we possibly be out there, even working back with the banks as well. So that's what we do. I talked about them so much, I forgot to talk about us.
All right, right.
Like she said, I've been here today, makes a month, but I think we'll be able to be here. My name's Brady Rhodes. I'm the county executive director for Nevada, Hickson, and Clark County. And one thing that is I'm proud of is the fact that I am from Nevada County. I've seen y'all are alternative wolves, aren't you? Blue Jay. I'm a Blue Jay. So we need to put it together there. Because it's not like it used to be. I know it used to be my mama, biggest competition was Prescott and Nevada. But anyway, that's kind of the thing in the past. But anyway, I'm thinking they'll be here and help people in Nevada County. Nevada County, like they were talking, we've got to go to Hope to get to Walmart. And we get forgotten sometimes here in Nevada County, but I'm thinking for things like this, and for y'all come to Prescott to reach people here in Nevada County. But Farm Service Agency has a large list, and in my month I've been here, I've been working down that list, trying to figure them all out. There's a lot of programs. They touch a variety of different things. A lot of them that we focus on help with disaster, help with times of loss, natural disasters are going to happen, droughts are going to happen. And we've got programs that help with that. There's a few things here that Dr. King has touched on our air property. There were some questions. That's an interesting ballgame because each of those situations are different. Every single one of them, I would guess. I hadn't dealt with any of those yet, but I know it's coming. But there are a lot of resources that we have to help with that. One Dr. King mentioned that I really wanted to point out. There are 3 different banks that you can go to and actually borrow money at a reduced interest rate to help sort those things out. Because with deeds and with all that kind of stuff, there's different legal matters, legal issues, and it costs money. So that's one thing that I wanted to point out on that. I know he touched on there to begin with. Urban farming, again, like Ms. Tanya said, I called yesterday, talking to Ms. LaShonda Tucker in Little Rock. She gave me her number and said that really, truly, if you got a question, she'd like to talk to you herself. So I've got that. If you have questions with that, she's learning.
Our urban, CED 4.
She's learning with all of us on the urban farming part. But micro urban, it's actually an acre or less. So that's what's being described by micro urban. So they need backyard farm. The one thing that everybody's talking about, they mentioned a farm number, and that's one of the most important parts of the NRCS or FSA. Yes, y'all probably don't deal with that, but to enroll in these programs, you have to have a farm number, and that's where you would bring into the FSA office, you would bring a copy of the deed to the property that you're dealing with and a 2047. And I have a packet over there. I don't remember what I put on the front of it, but there's a 2047 in that. And so if you've never enrolled in the program and you don't have a farm number, that form right there in the deed, you can bring that in our office this afternoon and we can get you a farm number. And so that's kind of the gateway. Once you have a farm number, you can then go to NRCS or you can,
So kind of explain what the 2047 is.
2047 gives us your information. She loves to do that. She loves to ask me to explain things that she thinks I might not know. It has your basic information, your name, your phone number, your address, your social security number, the key things that we need so we can put you in our database. How was that this time? But anyway, that gets us to where we can connect with you, and start any of these projects that we're talking about. Micro urban farming, that's an acre or less. If you've got a farm in your backyard, that's like you said, the size of that, the size of this table, you're just as have the same opportunities as somebody that's got 500 acres. With that, you can come in, bring your deed, get a farm number, and we've got the same resources that we can help you with. And some specialists, not everyone, but there are a lot of the same opportunities that we can help you with there. Right now, a lot of our programs are kind of in limbo because we're between farm bills, and as when we get a new farm bill, we'll have a lot more detail. Things are changing. I'm thankful that I came in between them because I'm gonna have to learn them anyway. So luckily I get to learn them too. So we'll work together on that to figure those out. Yes.
For the air property.
I've got a packet over there and, I actually did not put a document that gives you the information on those banks that you can go to get help with helping those air issues that loan that money, but you can reach out to me and I can get those too. But I've got a fact sheet over there on the air property. And like I said, there's unique situations with every one of them, but it's got a list of, from our perspective, if you're coming in on the enrolled property that's owned by a group of heirs, it's got different options as to how you can come in and get a farm number with that. I've got highlighted on the back, actually, the list. There's several different ways you can bring in a deed if you have that. You can also write a statement saying, I am an heir, and I would like to operate this, so then you become the operator of that place and you can get a farm number and then take off on any of our programs there. One of the programs that was listed here, they asked us to talk about a CRP. CRP is one of those which currently we don't have an enrollment period right now because we don't have a farm bill. But it's just like I feel like I echo a lot of what was talked about. If you have a property that might not produce like the others, I know here in Nevada County, most of our farmers are cattle farmers. We don't have any row croppers, but if you do have a farm and there's an area that's not as productive as others, or if you just have a property that you'd like to have some work done to benefit the conservation efforts, benefit the animals there, benefit the ecological positivity, NRCS might have better wording on that than I do. I worked in game and fish for 5 years, so that's kind of what my mind stayed on. But FSA works with the NRCS and the Forestry Commission to go in and get a plan together for the best way to tackle that property and make it work better benefit the things around it. And so once you get that plan built, they will actually have some suggestions in there, some practices that when you sign that contract, says you're going to carry out those practices throughout the term of that contract. And each year there is a payment and it doesn't pay you yearly. You're responsible for those practices that they prescribe for you. Some years, sometimes there is opportunity for cost share on that, so that's something to think about, consider when you go into that. But it's a lot of the same things you've already heard as far as opportunities there. If you have any questions, I will point out our offices are all just about the same. We're over there. I can give you a street address, but it'd be like today. People in Nevada County know landmarks. Between Big Jake's and KFC, it's right there. If that helps you get there, but we'd love to see you come in there anytime. Farm certification. Yes, ma'am. Every year, if you have acreage that you farm, you certify that acreage every year to enroll in things like NAP, which is non-insured crop insurance. Around here, grazing acres, acres that your cows graze. There's a program that you can enroll in called NAP, which is basically crop insurance on that, just like road croppers have. You come in yearly before July the 15th and, get those acres certified, they're on the books. And, if you do enroll for things like that, then if we have a loss or have a drought or something like that, you can come in and get if their payment comes available, you get assistance there to drought, things like that. That kind of there, the direction a little bit going.
Yeah, and like I said, the deadline was July 15th, so that didn't pass, so if you come in, you will have to pay a late fee. It's like,
That's for this past year, but you come in now to enroll for the coming year.
so, keep that in mind. 40%.
He mentioned the title, bringing title and showing ownership of the property. And you all also accept a lease agreement. Yeah, so.
Those are some of those.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you lease property, you can have property leased and, get the farm number on it as long as, the owner is the official owner of the property or has administrative authority over that property. So sometimes, I talked to the person the other day, they had reached 20 acres and I had to have a farm number, they come to find out it didn't have a farm number. So they wanted to get the farm number, say, well, make sure you have a legitimate lease. You didn't have an actual lease, just a statement. I said, you really just need to have a lease. How long you have a lease for? Because farm number, certain programs sign up, there's compliance periods. So you could say, I got a lease for 1 year, you want to sign up, NRCS on a contract that has a compliance period of 5 years. So you can't build a lease for it.
Thank you, Brady. And, Brady, you said you were with Fish and Wildlife.
I went to the game, so that's kind of a constellation. I'm having to put things like that direction nearly, but,
I probably, Fish and Wildlife, I think Larry Logan, he's, one of our volunteers and he worked there for over 20 years.
really,
It's a fishing game though.
game and fish, I'm talking game and fish here.
And so we would have been back here. It's a 5 years. So.
Yeah, man.
Next we're gonna have our rural development, our area director, Rebecca Buck. And she will be speaking on housing, grants and loan programs, rural small town, community grants and loan programs, business grant and loan program along with energy programs. So Rebecca, you gonna stay there? Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So I actually go by Becky, I'm Becky Buck, and our office is located on the bypass and home between Big J and KFC. So depending where you are, we're the closest building to the road there, except they are building a new, C2 motorsports. For ATVs and stuff, to put that where I'm going. So, but anyway, there's only like 4 businesses out there. But, we're there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, and there should be somebody there to assist you anytime you come in. If we don't know the answer to what your question is, we will find somebody who does and get you an answer. I'm gonna start with the single family housing program. It's the direct program. It's called the 502 program. It offers mortgage financing to eligible low and very low income applicants to buy, build, improve, or repair a rural home as their primary residence. So they must occupy as their primary residence. We won't assist them to buy a rental property. The single family housing direct loan program also provides payment assistance. It's a temporary subsidy to help increase borrower's repayment ability. Your adjusted income must be at or below the low income limit for the area in which you wish to buy a house, and the property must be located in an eligible rural area. We do on our website, there is a place that you can go and see if it's an eligible rural area, because if you get to, like, our office services the 14 counties in Southwest Arkansas, so we actually service Saline County and Garland County and Miller County, but we don't do anything in the city limits of Texarkana, Hot Springs, fit right if you just have to, look. So that's why we, if you're in those three counties, you need to go out and make sure the property that you're interested in is in an eligible area. Among other requirements, you must be without decent and safe housing. You must be unable to get a loan with reasonable terms and conditions from other resources. Agree to live in the home as your primary residence and meet U.S. citizenship or non-citizenship requirements. Additionally, the properties must be considered modest for the area and not have a market value higher than our area loan limit. Well, our area loan limit right now is like $398,000. So most homes, are gonna be considered moderate. But there's a fact sheet over there that has a whole lot more information on it and has QR code on it if you want to scan the QR code. But it's really helpful because you can go out to our website and it'll tell you anything you want to know. You can do a pre-qualification worksheet out there to see if you might be eligible, all kinds of stuff. So the next program I want to touch on is the 504 home loan repair. It's a repair and grant program. The grants are for 62 years of age or older. You must have very low income and you must own and occupy the dwelling. And the repair grants are only for health and safety reasons. So if the restroom in your house needs to be handicap accessible, and you're 62 years of age or older, we can assist you in getting that done and not cost you a dime. The maximum amount of grant for the lifetime is $10,000. So if you came to us 3 years ago and you got $2,500 because the carpet in your house was wrinkled up and you were on a walker and it was a safety hazard and we paid to replace that carpet, then you may still have $7,500 that's available to you because you might need a roof on your house. Because always remember, if you got a hole in your roof, it's going to deteriorate the whole house. If there's just a little small hole in your floor, the roof's covering it, so it's probably okay. But if you got a hole in your roof, you got a problem. So, health and safety is part of the roof. We do metal, we'll finance metal roofs or shingle roofs, either kind. It's just up to the person what kind they want. This is also known as the Section 504 Home Repair Program that provides loans to very low income homeowners to repair, improve, or modernize their homes, or provide grants to the elderly, very low income homeowners to remove health and safety hazards. You must be the homeowner in an occupied house, be unable to obtain affordable credit elsewhere, have a family income within the very low income limits. And I'm just going to give you an example. So our 502 program, the direct program is for low and very low, but the 504 is only for very low. So one of the counties in this area is like a loan limit for the low is like 50, you can't gross more than $52,000 a year. But for the very low, you can't gross more than $30,000 a year, and that's for a 1 to 4 person household. So that's kind of the difference in the low versus the very low. The properties must be located in an eligible area, and it says you can visit this website to do that. They can be used to repair, improve, or modernize homes, or to remove health and safety hazards. Grants must be used to remove health must be used to remove health and safety hazards. The maximum loan in the 504 program is $40,000, and the maximum grant is $10,000. So if you need a lot of repairs, you can buy them both. And maybe get up to $50,000. Now, you do have to get a bid from an Arkansas state licensed contractor. So anything you do that we're going to help finance, it has to be done by an Arkansas state licensed contractor, whether it's construction or heating and air or plumbing, whatever it is, they have to be Arkansas state licensed. The loans are repaid over 20 years, and the loan interest rate for the 504 is 1% fixed. And basically what that means is if you borrow $4,000, you're going to pay about $4 a month for 20 years. That's just a guesstimate about how much you're looking at for payment to be. Now we'll have to do full title service on loans that are greater than $25,000. And like I said, the lifetime grant is $10,000, but there's also a fact sheet over there that explains there's a whole lot more. It also has a QR code on it. Now, there's a single family housing guaranteed loan program, and we don't service that in our office. You go directly to the bank. So you'll go to the bank and just ask them, do you do the single family housing guaranteed loan program? And you can finance all the fees in with your loan, but you'll go through the bank to do that. It helps lenders offer 100% financing no money down loans to low and moderate income people. And I'm not sure what the moderate income, is, but it's higher than 50,000. It's backed by USDA development and the, loan is 90% guaranteed. So if something were to happen and you lost your job or something, there was a risk to the bank, then, we would guarantee 90% of that loan repayment to the bank. With the single family housing loan guarantee, you can buy an existing home, cover the cost of rehabilitating, improving, or relocating a home to build new. I will say that on our 502 program, we do not finance mobile homes. And at this time, we don't have a manufactured home in the state that's approved for development loan. So, but we do repairs on mobile homes, but if repair the mobile home, you must own and occupy the mobile home and own the property that it sits on. So, community facilities. This program provides affordable funding to develop essential community facilities in rural areas. An essential community facility is defined as a facility that provides an essential service to the local community for orderly development of the community in a primarily rural area and does not include private, commercial, or business undertakings. People that are eligible are public bodies, community-based nonprofit corporations, and federally recognized tribes. Rural areas including cities, villages, townships, and towns, including federally recognized tribal land with no more than 20,000 residents, according to the latest U.S. Census data, are eligible for the program. Some of the things that we help finance are healthcare facilities, hospitals, medical clinics, dental clinics, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, town halls, courthouses, street improvements, child care centers, community centers, fairgrounds, transitional housing, police stations, prisons, police vehicles, fire trucks, public works vehicles or equipment, educational services. I will say here in Prescott, we have assisted the city of Prescott with purchasing police vehicles over the last few years, and we funded a grant for the library to get computers. The last 2 times they got new computers. So, libraries, private, different things like that. So that's what the community facilities program does. And it's a loan and a grant, or one or the other, but the grant, the eligibility amount for the grant is based on the median household income of where the facility is located. Yes.
And that's a lot of money.
My suggestion would be you get a 504 application from our office and find a local licensed contractor and get him to come look at it and find out what the issue is. And, if you need help filling out your application, we'll be happy to assist you with that. You can call our office. They can email you an application. They can mail it to you, or you can come out and pick it up, however you want to do it. But I would get a hold of the local contractor and get a bid from him to see what it takes to repair it before your house is got a lot of damage to it. Yeah, I can find it right now if you want.
Let me, you say you do repair work on mobile homes, but you don't, new.
Right, finance any kind of mobile home, only repairs on it.
But 504, that's a long, right?
It's a long word grant. So, we also have the, Rural Development Guarantee Loan Initiative, for community facilities. So you would go to your local lender if it was a big project that you wanted to do, if you wanted to do a prison or whatever, and just go through them, and then they would contact us for the guaranteed loan side of it. And we would guarantee 90% of it also. We have what they call water and waste disposal loans and grants, where we, finance water systems and wastewater systems for communities. Rural areas with towns and populations of 10,000 or less, and provides funding for clean and reliable drinking water systems, sanitary sewer disposal, sanitary solid waste disposal, and stormwater drainage to households and businesses in rural areas. Most state and local government entities can apply, private nonprofits, and federally recognized tribes. It has long-term, low interest rates, and the water and wastewater systems are usually financed for 40 years. And, I can't remember off the top of my head what the interest rate is right now. If you get poverty level, it's usually 3% or less. We also have the guarantee, side of that for the water and wastewater, that you just contact your local lender and then they'll contact us and, we'll work through the process together. We have what they call the REAP program. It's the Rural Energy for America program. It provides guaranteed loan financing and grant money to agriculture producers and rural small businesses for renewables energy system or to make energy efficiency improvement. One of the things that they have done with this is put solar panels up to reduce electricity costs. We've had businesses in the Mountain Pine area that they put the solar panels on the top of their business to reduce we did one outside of Hot Springs. They've done one outside of Hot Springs. There's several places that are using those solar panels to reduce their energy costs. Agriculture producers can also apply for new energy efficient equipment and new system loans for agriculture production and processing. I think they've even financed a new incinerator at a hog farm. So that's just an example of some of the things they do. We don't actually work the business programs in our office, so I'm not as familiar with those, but there's a fact sheet over there that's got this information. And if you have any business, I know that they also have what they call a red leg program. I'm not real familiar with it, but there's a lady in the state office that processes those, and I can get you the number for that. But they're out to help the community, improve getting employment or, just helping small businesses do things that I can't really go into detail about because I don't know, but I can find out if I need to.
In filling out application, being 504. So I actually wanted to call in, and I want to be clear on it. They have a house that they are living in right now. It is, in mom and dad's name, who has been known a long time. And it wasn't an accident that they're in other locations. I had a representative out of the Florida City office, and I don't see you in, but because I want to get anyone in trouble just in case it's not the right information. But told us our clients that all they would have to do is when it gets down to, they can apply for a 501. But when it gets down to actually, determining because it's pretty kind of determining that they're going to need it. So, and he is 52 years of age of older. Only thing is, like I said, the deed is not in her name, so they told her that she could still apply, but when they came down to the loan and signing it, all theirs had to be present. Is that correct?
They all have to sign.
Now, in that case, I worked with one also in that area. And what we managed to do is get the heirs to just leave their interest. So you can do it. So it's easier to do it that way because what I did is directly into and got an abstract office to work with it. So that was managing that. So each individual staying in different locations, abstract office to work back with the other locations. And all they had to do was to go, because they were all scattered out. All they had to do is to go into that particular office, the abstract office, and with that document, that they were deeding their interest over to the party who was actually a resident there in the house.
The only way that all heirs don't have to sign is if they go ahead.
Yeah.
That would be the easiest thing too, and they are all in agreement.
Yeah.
Just wanted to be,
Yeah, and we didn't, like he said, we refer to an attorney or an abstract office. We don't give legal advice.
Okay, I mentioned that too around the assistant court, clear up those kind of issues.
Yeah, he knows about that. I did not know about that till today, so I will be getting a look at it.
Oh, yeah, you can do it that way. But the other thing I just want to mention, because, and this is sometimes where both FSA and, it comes into play. Because there is a cost, sometimes that's a cost factor, and a cost factor either way you deal with it, or dealing the interest over. That maybe we want to look into the loan program with FSA, the Air Property Loan Program, because, they're qualified on the low income, side of it, to make application for the FSA Air Property Loan, to make sure everything is covered on the expense side. Typically, they're going to go to an attorney. You don't have to go to the attorney. You can just get the abstract office themselves to work with it, as long as they're very clear on what you're wanting to get done, them deeding that interest over to that party who is the residents there, and find out what the cost is on it in advance. That's what I did with this young lady, up with this person. And so once she had the cost back and all, she got it all worked out, and got everything clear, with the interest, deeded over. And in this particular, it wasn't even 504, because it was more than 40,000 needed. It was, ended up in 502, loan for it, to do a certain renovation and the repair work. But that would be the quickest way.
Is there any other questions? Is there any online? Arkansas lady.
I want to just make one of the statements and to express my appreciation to my team here. I'm saying the USDA team, the one USDA. We'll be sharing this online. So the USDA office people, I would hope that you all would at least let people know if it's not your agency or someone call and they want to listen to your presentation, what you talked about at this meeting, so you have ongoing outreach. But our website, and it will be going up, is AL. No, I'm sorry, I'm getting my website wrong. Mike, it's AR. No, not ARLCDC. Okay, it's AR. ALCDC .org. ARLCDC .org. That's our website number. We will get it up to the website. And, if you all want to look at a comparison to see if you all were as good as some of the other folks, then you all can make it.
Things about my area, the team rate. We had a state meeting when I had all the new women research. With 6 years about just the only one did. So everybody had on the grade. So we're team rate. We stick together. So. Yeah.
So I want to if you've been a district person, to know that. So your team here and tell people to look at the website. And you all can only do, I think, a limited number of outreach, newsletters. Okay, so you're gonna do 2 of them on the webinar, things of that nature.
No, 2 newsletters.
2 newsletters. Okay, just so I can look at the newsletters and see what information we have in that sometime. But just refer people to the website, and they can listen to your information, look what you're saying here, what the program's all about, and anytime. And if it's not you all that you're listening to, that we listen to someone else that's giving them the same information and with the USDA resource. So I just want to mention that, so you all will do that as well. You only want to go to that also, so I know you did that later.
Team Red did. And we want to thank Tanya for coming, she's the district director. And, you know, all the time we get that. And we, we're not going to use it. And encourage the Team Red, you know, that you have some understanding by you. That was really good. But I was just going to thank each and every one of you on the panel today for coming out and joining us and helping us. And we are all, as we said, as one, trying to reach the same goal to inform our people, our communities, what USDA has to offer, and along with us. And we're at Fort City, 831 location, and at our address, 831, you can call Larry Lofton at 870-594-8028, or me, myself, Jamie Williams, 870-594-8994. So we are available. Just call us and we'll be there as well, same as you were today. We do have on the path of Arkansas Land and Community Development Corporation, our CEO, has refreshments back there, water and soda and snacks just to take with you, and you just help yourself. Again, thank you, and everybody online today, thank you. All right, you can go back to the office or whatever you want to do. You can take off the record.